Mitt Romney called on Barack Obama to run a campaign focused on the issues, without the vitriolic personal attacks which the president and his allies have used to date. But can the president even do that? And can Romney constrain his allies to the high roads of vision, ideology, and policy? I'm PJTV's Scott Ott, joined now by Stephen Green and Bill Whittle. Well, men, it seemed for a moment that the Obama campaign got the message, dishing out some fine-sounding compliments for Paul Ryan, Romney's new running mate.
I'm more concerned about him as an American. And, you know, by the way, he's a very genial guy. I know him. I like him. I just don't like his views.
He's a good guy. He's a decent guy. I called to congratulate him. We both talked about it. These are stark choices.
Congressman Ryan is a decent man. He is a family man. He is an articulate spokesman for Governor Romney's vision. But it's a vision that I fundamentally disagree with.
Well, Bill Whittle, you see there, Team Obama can take the high road. Isn't the burden on Romney and Ryan now to do the same?
First of all, David Axelrod and Barack Obama both disagree with his vision for America because David Axelrod and Barack Obama are a bunch of lying Marxists. Now, the high road is, as you pointed out, Scotty, there's a difference between the official campaign and the super PACs. In fact, if my understanding is correct, the super PACs are legally prohibited from dealing with, coordinating with the campaign in any way. Yeah. So you have an argument to be made that an ad that the super PACs make is not under the control of the campaign. So you could basically say, you know, this offensive ad, well, Barack Obama's campaign didn't have anything to do with it. But you can also clearly make the case, certainly make the case, that the super PACs take their lead from the tone of the campaign, and certainly Barack Obama's tone from the day that Mitt Romney became the nominee, mathematically, was to destroy Mitt Romney personally as this capitalist vampire who sucks the life out of companies and pumps cancer cells back in and then gets off on his jet and flies to Barbados or something, you know. So clearly, that super PAC ad was a result of the tone set by the Obama campaign. They're being nice to Ryan because they can't portray him as either too old, too stupid, or too evil. He's a nice, smart, young guy. So they have to think of some new way to hang an albatross around his neck. They're still searching. They're still doing the tests on this one.
Well, Stephen Green, Bill has a point. These are the kind of folks who run ads suggesting that Mitt Romney kills women with cancer and Paul Ryan throws grandma off of the cliff. I mean, does anyone believe them when they say they think Ryan is a genial fellow and a decent family man? And if not, why do they even bother saying it?
Well, you're witnessing a panic. They've got to try something new. They've got to walk back all this stuff that they tried in the last week and a half that just absolutely backfired on them with the subject ads. There were two of them. One was by the super PAC. It was nasty. One was the official Obama ad, and it was just as nasty. Yeah. It's not working. They've got to try something new, and what they're trying is a reverse Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney has been on the attack for a couple of months now. In fact, he did this during the primaries, too, saying, you know what, I think Barack Obama is a nice guy. He's just in over his head. So they're trying the same thing. It hasn't gained Mitt Romney a whole lot of traction. That's why he's been stuck at about 45 to 47 in the polls. It's not going to do much for Obama other than making him look like he can't stick to a plan, which, well, I wish that were true. One other thing I want to mention, though, in that attack ad that you showed, the first one, they show Romney sitting at that desk and the lighting as they're trying to make him look all threatening. Now, what he looks like to me is a successful businessman about to make a deal that's going to make his investors some money, and that's what he's supposed to do. Contrast that to the photo of Obama shrinking in on himself in the ready room on the night of the bin Laden raid. That's a compare and contrast I want to see more of in this campaign.
A reverse Mitt Romney. That would be Romney good, I believe. Bill, isn't it true that Romney has to get Obama fired? And to do that, Obama must be portrayed as the villain, and the stakes are so high for the country that the ordinary rules of civility must be laid aside. In other words, the ends justify the sometimes despicable means.
How do you do it, Scott? You devil's advocate genius, you. Before I answer that question, honestly, let me just go on what Steve said about that picture of Mitt Romney. He doesn't just look like a successful executive. He looks like Don Draper from Mad Men. He looks like he's not only going to close $1 billion deal, but then he's going to head out and nail a Pan Am stewardess, you know, and then maybe have a couple scotches with Frank Sinatra and, you know, and jet around the way. This is like, this is a bad thing. That's our guy. No, I think, what was the second part of the question again? You were saying, does he have to, I got it. No, he does not. He does not have to portray Obama as a villain. He can simply portray him as incompetent. And I at first fundamentally disagreed with this strategy because anybody who's studied Barack Obama's history, his background, and his associations know that this is not a nice guy. But Romney chose this path, and Romney chose wisely, because at the beginning of this thing, after the presidential primaries for the Republicans, Romney had like a 27-point likability disadvantage compared to Obama. And if he comes out attacking Obama, he plays into that role of the mean-spirited guy that Obama's painted for him. By saying that Obama's a swell guy, he's by definition being nice in the face of all of this mud that's being thrown at him. He disproves the point that he's an evil, heartless guy, and he does eliminate Barack Obama's only advantage, which is likability. He can't be the mean guy. He can't. I think he's playing very smart ball.
It may also prove that Romney has actually read Adam Smith's theory of moral sentiments. Well, Stephen Green, even if Obama and Romney and their seconds would agree to avoid personal attacks, there's nothing they could do, as Bill said, to restrain the super PACs. Are we damned to an eternity of listening to their nasty sniping? Or is there any hope for a kinder, gentler campaign season?
Well, not an eternity. It ends on November 6th, and I get taken, not come soon enough. But, you know, I don't want to see a kinder, gentler campaign. I want to see what a candidate is willing to fight for. I don't want to see a John McCain, but I also want to see how he's willing to fight for it, because I think that reveals a candidate's character. We've seen what President Obama is willing to do, which is nothing but character assassination, even if he is willing to preface it with, oh, he's a nice guy. It still gets down to character assassination. And what is Obama willing to fight for? Well, nothing. He doesn't have a platform in this campaign. Character assassination is it. That's all he has. Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, they're setting down markers. They are fighting, and they're also fighting in a way that makes me respect both men more than I did before this campaign started, and that's not something you see a whole lot of in American politics.
Well, Mitt Romney does have to get Barack Obama fired, but that doesn't mean that he has to debase himself in the process. And while he can't control what the super PACs do, he can make it clear that Obama's record and statements in context are valid targets, but that he disavows in advance the kinds of trashy tactics we've already seen from the president and his supporters. And while I don't think for a minute that Barack Obama sees Paul Ryan as a genial fellow, the president has a real problem on his hands. When you're ashamed of your record, you smear your opponents. But when your opponents are the proverbial Boy Scouts, the personification of the old TV version of Batman and Robin, the only tool you have left is deception. But you can't fool all of the people all of the time. For Stephen Green, Bill Whittle, and the entire Trifecta crew at pjtv.com, I'm Scott Ott.